Okay, I'm back again. I've taken time to really digest the movie because yesterday was more like verbal diarrhea. I was just getting everything off my chest with no structure. This time I wrote some stuff down. I want to actually articulate my views on the movie and why I was so let down in a more structured way, if you get what I mean. So, first of all, the differences between the OG story and the movie. So, in the movie, Shadow's origin, Shadow arrives on Earth via meteorite. Humans see him as a mysterious, powerful being and decide to study him. Naturally to try utilize his power and find out what he is and utilize his power and weaponize his power for the benefit of humanity. Gerald Robotnik is assigned to the project, but the story makes it more like he's a scientist assigned to the project as opposed to somebody with a personal stake in the game. Do you get what I mean? Like he's just a scientist, a genius. We're going to assign you to this project because you're the best equipped mentally to handle this project, basically. In the OG story, Shadow was created by Gerald Robotnik as part of Project Shadow, a government sanctioned experiment to create the ultimate life form. Gerald had a deep personal motivation. He wanted to cure Maria's illness whilst fulfilling humanity's scientific aspirations. Shadow wasn't some random alien, he was intentionally created, and that adds a lot of depth naturally because his motivation is not only as a scientist to push humanity onto the next stage, the ultimate life form, something that, to unlock the key to immortality and stuff like that, but also to save Maria. Now, the government's role. In the movie, Gunn gets scared of Shadow's power and decides to shut down the project. In the process, they accidentally cause collateral damage by shooting an explosive canister, which is just out in the open for some reason, because why not leave that there? And it blows up and Maria dies as a consequence of that, along with other people that were in the facility. They die by accident as opposed to anything intentional. And then they imprison Gerald Robotnik and put Shadow into cryosleep. In the original story, Gunn initially greenlit the project but later panicked. Whilst word of it was getting out, they got scared of the potential repercussions, losing trust from the public. Instead of just shutting it down, they staged a full-scale raid on the Ark, massacring everyone, including Maria, and wiping out all evidence. It was a cold and calculated cover-up to bury any trace of their involvement in the project. It wasn't a clumsy accident. It weren't we're trying to get Shadow and no, don't shoot. Okay, fair enough. Oh, whoopsie, I shot and then I shot an explosive canister that just happens to be out in the open because yeah, that's where we keep those. 3. Gerald Robotnik's fate. Gerald is imprisoned after the accident and forced to work for the government. He helps the government build a weapon whilst the government unknowingly builds him a weapon of mass destruction. So in the movie, he remains alive. He doesn't get killed by firing squad. And Dr. Eggman had no idea whatsoever that he even had a grandfather, as opposed to the original. In the original, Dr. Eggman looked up to his grandfather, and his grandfather was everything that he wanted to be. That plays more into why he felt so let down and betrayed later, because, like, you're my grandfather, you're everything I want to be, you're my idol, I looked up to you. Did you really mean to destroy all of us, including me? Like, the hell? I looked up to you. And that makes Dr. Eggman teaming up with Sonic even more impactful because Eggman is teaming up with his arch nemesis Sonic to stop the plan of his idol. That's really deep. It's part of Dr. Eggman's personal and emotional growth. Of course, he goes back to being a dickhead very quickly. But it's a very big moment for Dr. Eggman. In the OG story, Gerald is executed by Gunn after being arrested. After Maria's death, in the time leading up to his death, he completely loses his mind over Maria's death and rewires the Ark's systems to destroy humanity as revenge. In the movie version, Shadow is angry because Maria died as a consequence of what happened on the Ark. But I'll let you know, you tell me what version holds more weight in terms of giving Shadow motivation to take revenge on humanity. Having Maria die as a result of negligence, or having Maria be killed in an intentional, cold, and calculated massacre done to cover up the government's involvement in a project that they greenlit. I think it's quite obvious which one, because Negligence can make you very angry. Someone that you know and love dying as a result of negligence can make you want to tear the world apart. But to make you actually go through with a plan like that takes some serious motivation. Having Maria die out of negligence makes you very angry. But Shadow is very smart. Taking a leap from dying from negligence to I want to wipe out humanity, that's quite a big leap. Could you justify a leap like that? Yeah, you could justify it, but it ends up being a bit weaker and more cliche. You took everything from me and now I'm going to take everything from you. The original sequence of events that led to Maria dying, that gives some serious motivation to want to blow up the entire world. You get what I mean? Okay. Eggman. In the movie, Eggman is completely disconnected from Gerald and Shadow's story until he randomly finds out that he has a granddad and then finds out about Shadow as well. In the OG story, Eggman idolizes Gerald from the start and seeks to follow in his footsteps. When he awakens Shadow, he's ecstatic to discover he's part of Gerald's legacy. Like in the movie, when Eggman teams up with Sonic and friends to stop the world from ending, Dr. Eggman's like, I want to rule the world. I don't want to destroy it. So he teams up with Sonic and friends to stop that plan. That is what happened. But for me, personally, maybe you guys think differently. I think having Dr. Eggman disconnected from Shadow and Gerald Robotnik until he randomly finds out he has a granddad changes the build up. Do you get what I mean? Because when you build up to that with my granddad, I look up to him and look at his creation, the ultimate life form. My granddad created the ultimate life form, and I'm awakening the ultimate life form again. I'm continuing my granddad's work. But then I find out my granddad's a lunatic. He wants to wipe out the entire world and me as well. Damn, I'm heartbroken. And now I have to team up with this stinky hedgehog to go and stop the plan that my granddad did. That's embarrassing. Like, think about it. Eggman has to have a moment where he's standing next to Tails and being like, yo, I always looked up to my granddad, but was he genuinely just completely crazy the entire time? Have I been looking up to a madman? But in the movie, oh wow, I have a granddad? That's crazy. Oh, Shadow? Oh, okay, I don't really know what you are, but cool, okay. Oh, you want to blow up the world? Can't have that. Let me team up with Sonic and stop it. It becomes cheaper, you know what I mean? And then you have the comedy, like in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Dr. Eggman was genuinely evil. But in the movie, you have Dr. Eggman being really, really Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. He can't do wrong for me. It's the writing allowing Jim Carrey to be Jim Carrey in this movie, in this story, that didn't feel right to me. Jim Carrey having that moment when he's talking to himself, you know, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, and being like, you know, it's almost like we're in a movie and we're playing the same character. Wink, wink. I would wink if I could wink. Sonic has broken the fourth wall in many games, and that ain't never been one of the highlights of the franchise. But in the movie, when they had that moment, it was very weird for me. Here's an idea that I have. Imagine this alternate version of the intro to the film. I even wrote it down. The movie starts with pure chaos. We hear screams echoing through the halls of the Ark, gunfire rattling in the distance. The camera pans to Shadow and Maria sprinting through a dimly lit corridor, the infamous hallway scene, and gun soldiers are very close on their tail. The tension builds. Suddenly we hear gunshots coming from the direction of the gun soldiers. Bullets ricochet off the walls. Shadow spins around, chaos energy flaring from him, and deflects the shots with ease and takes out the gun soldiers who shot at them. But then a window shatters as a gun hovercraft appears, spraying bullets through the glass. Shadow yells, "Maria, keep running!" And chaos controls outside, taking on the machine in an epic fight. Maria, desperate and determined, locks herself in a room, and Shadow chaos controls inside the room that she has entered into, thinking they're safe, until Maria reveals that she's been hit. Shadow's confused. I stopped all the bullets. I stopped them all. How? How can she have been hit? But she reassures him, telling him they'll get help once they get to Earth. Maria tricks Shadow into stepping into an escape pod, the only escape pod, and the glass quickly surrounds him, trapping him in the escape pod. Shadow's pounding on the glass, yelling at her, "Maria, Maria!" Maria smiles through her tears and presses the launch button. The speech that we know and love, and also saying, "My days are numbered, but your days are just beginning, Shadow. Be everything you're supposed to be. Be the light in this world of darkness and show the humans a better way," before Shadow plummets to Earth. Unfortunately, once Shadow arrives at Earth, gun soldiers are already waiting, knowing exactly where he was going to land, using a power that they can only use once because he wasn't expecting it. They knock him out. A power that nullified his chaos energy, preventing him from chaos controlling. Something that would only ever work that one time where he wasn't expecting it and he was engulfed in grief. And they put Shadow into cryo sleep. And as he drifts off into that long sleep, all he can think about is what he's gonna do when he manages to wake the fuck up. That's my idea for the intro. And then we cut to Dr. Eggman causing trouble in the city yet again, and Sonic and friends are stopping his plan. In Shadow Dark Beginnings, the big robot with the big spiky hand, like in the game, the more the merrier. Sonic and friends save the city from that big robot. And here's the best part. There's no parents. Those two characters are nowhere to be seen, and the human characters are in the far fucking distance and are not part of the main plot apart from the people that have to be. That's my idea for how the intro could have gone. But yeah, you know, for me, I just feel like a lot of the changes change motivations to the point where it severely waters down a very complex and serious story. The humor not only does not land, but takes away from the darker elements or the seriousness of the story. Dr. Robotnik not knowing that he had a granddad kind of, I don't know why I do that, and it led to a really weird moment. I have a granddad, oh my god, you look the same as me, and then it's a break the fourth wall section. It's just no. It's a no from me, dog. It's a no from me. Personally.